So we've been talking about the contradiction king Bart Ehrman, the go-to guy for skeptics when it comes to looking for a negative verdict on the Gospels. In my last video, we saw how Bart loves to yank verses out of their context and then twist them into the least charitable way possible. This time, though, he's really outdone himself, winning gold in the Olympics of ridiculous readings. In his book, Jesus Interrupted, Ehrman says, in Matthew, Jesus' disciples procured 2 animals for him, a donkey and a colt. They spread their garments over the 2 of them, and Jesus rode into town, straddling them both. It's an odd image, but Matthew made Jesus fulfill the prophecy of Scripture quite literally. So, there you go. Jesus the rodeo clown. Matthew is just so stupid. But let's take a deep breath and apply a bit of common sense and sprinkle in a dash of goodwill and ask ourselves, what's the real deal with them in the passage? Here's Matthew 21:7. The disciples went and did as Jesus had directed them. They brought the donkey and the colt and put on their cloaks, and he sat on them. Now, are we talking about the donkey and the colt, or are we talking about the cloaks? Let's turn to commentator John A.T. Robinson and his no-nonsense take on the matter. He says, the garments, of course. The words in Greek might refer to the 2 animals, but such reference is by no means necessary. Matthew is not careful to distinguish, but common sense can do it. I swear if Matthew had written, Jesus rode a donkey wearing a seamless robe, you'd have critics cracking jokes about a donkey with some serious drip. But Bart Ehrman, in true form, doubles down. He argues that since the cloaks were placed on both animals, we're supposed to imagine Jesus seated on all the garments spread across 2 different animals. But really, are we seriously to think that Matthew envisioned Jesus riding 2 animals of different heights at the same time? If that's what Matthew meant, don't you think that he would have spelled it out a little more clearly? Ehrman also thinks that Matthew got his wires crossed with Zechariah 9:9, mistaking it for a 2-animal caravan. So let's take a peek at the verse and see what's really going on. It says, Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, thy king comes unto you. He is just and having salvation, lowly and riding upon a donkey, and upon a colt, the foal of a donkey. So what can we say in response to this? Well, first of all, Matthew does know his Hebrew, and it shows in his work. Just look how he handles Isaiah 53:4 in Matthew 8:16-17. He correctly translates the word sicknesses, whereas the Greek Septuagint translated as griefs. Scholar Robert Gundry hits the nail on the head here, saying, it's quite unreasonable to suggest that Matthew, who demonstrably had a good command of Hebrew, added the extra animal to fit a text that he radically misunderstood. Also, New Testament scholar Craig Keener points out that Mark notes the colt was unused. In his commentary on Matthew, he suggests that it's quite possible that Jesus brought the colt's mom along in order to avoid a freakout with the excited crowd. Anyone who has raised horses or donkeys would know that this is a reasonable possibility. Also, just because other gospel writers mention only 1 donkey, it doesn't mean that they are throwing shade at the idea of a second one. If there's 1, there could be 2, it's not a zero-sum game. In real life, if I say something that's remotely open to interpretation, and you leap upon the most ludicrous, facepalm-worthy meaning possible, congratulations, you've basically exposed yourself. No, to show somebody is an idiot, you had better come armed with some rock-solid proof. This whole double donkey thing just smacks of gotcha games. So how do you counter Ehrman's strategy? Simple, just use a little bit of charity and common sense. Now, lest anybody think that I'm just going for the low-hanging fruit here, be sure to subscribe and stay tuned because in the next video, I'm going to be tackling his toughest contradiction yet. Thank you so much for watching.